Okay. So, more than likely, I'm probably going to do a few story times about this just because it's such a, how do I put it, it's such a kind of easy topic to discuss. And I'm talking about the hood. That's where I grew up in. That's where a lot of people I know grew up in. That's where a lot of these rich people say they grew up in. But yeah, it's a pretty easy topic to discuss. I can go on and on and on and on about it because there's so much to discuss about it. I'm not a hood nigga though. I'm not like a typical person that grew up in the hood. Most people that grew up in the hood, they give in to their situation, start selling drugs, killing each other, fighting, getting aggressive, blaming their shitty thought processes and their mentalities on being from the hood. That's not me. I just happen to be a normal guy, kind of nerdy guy, with a kind of a brain from the hood. So, you know, I know the lingo. Trust me, I've seen some shit. And I just know how it is. And trust me, it's not very fun. It's kind of like how I said in my first video, how, you know, there are people that get famous really easily, like on TikTok and stuff, because, you know, they already come from money, so they got nice big houses and nice beautiful backgrounds to film their videos, so they just get subs like that because people just like to see nice shit. That's why people that are from the hood have a harder time, because they don't have as many nice things to show off. They only have themselves and whatever skill they're presenting to their audience whenever they get an audience. It's the same thing with what I'm doing right now. I don't have a pretty background right now because I don't have much money. I'm working on it. I'm not necessarily in the hood right now. Obviously, as I got older, I went ahead and got myself away from like the deep hood. But I'm still not living, you know, the life I want. But yeah, the reality for a lot of people like me is that most people that come from certain conditions aren't usually set to make it. It's kind of like a lot of things are stacked against you, I'll say. Whether it's the fact that, you know, we don't have access to much knowledge, you know, ways of the world, or there are people around us that try to make sure no one gets too high above the other. Crabs in the barrel effect. I'm sure you've heard it before. You know, people stealing ideas, people telling you your ideas are bad when they might end up doing it themselves. Just hating people. And one of the worst things, and this is why a lot of celebrities move out of the hood when they get famous, is that it gets so extreme that I use me as an example. Let's say whenever my YouTube channel finally takes off and, you know, I'm making buku bucks and, you know, I have a big following, I'm able to help people, I'm able to help businesses around in my area and stuff. Somebody that I went to school with or that I knew from a long time ago would want to kill me. That want to take my life. Because there's really no reason behind it. It's just jealousy and anger. Because we grew up the same way, yet they saw me make something out of myself while they didn't. It's the same thing that happened to Nipsey Hussle. It's the same thing that happened to a lot of people. Just jealousy and anger that overcomes you, because living in those conditions, it does something to you. T Grizzly said it best. Being broke did something to my spirit. That's really true. It really does do something to you. It makes you look at things a lot differently. Another thing growing up in the hood did for me, and what I think it does for a lot of people, is it forces you to grow up at an accelerated rate. So 10-year-olds in the hood are probably 14-year-olds in the brain with what they've probably seen and been through. 14-year-olds in the hood are probably 20-year-olds in the brain from what they've seen and been through. They hang out with older people. They do things that grown-ups are supposed to do. All that stuff. I think that's one reason. I don't know why girls like hood niggas so much. Like, man. I mean, I get the rappers and stuff because, you know, the rappers are rich. They have the ice on their neck and all that stuff. I get that. But what about like just the regular hood dudes that sell a little bit of weed and don't really make much money and then their hygiene is horrible sometimes, and like that. It's just frustrating. But yeah, growing up in those situations really makes you just see life differently. And then it also, another thing growing up in the hood did for me, and I think what it did for a lot of people that grew up that way, is that they look at people that didn't grow up in the hood as lesser. And I'm not saying I look at people as lesser or nothing. I guess there are some people that do though, but I guess what I mean is things that a person that grew up in a 2-parent household with all the appliances still on and no issues or anything, those people, when something bad happens, when something inconvenient happens, they overreact to it. Versus a person like me or just a person from the hood in general, they see something like insignificant. Like there are things that are insignificant to a person that grew up a certain way. So, you know, a person that grew up in a nice household with money will probably be really angry if pants or something don't come in their size, or or if they order something from Amazon and they get canceled or something like that, or I don't know, if somebody says something about them in a really mean way or something. Just like small things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of life. Those people, since they never had to run into any turmoil or issues, it amplifies small things to them. Whereas people like me mostly chill about pretty much anything. It's just when people start talking like getting a certain way to you, that's when you start, letting that inner hood come out. I think it's good. I think it's good that I did grow up in those conditions though. Because of that, I've become a minimalist. I can live off of barely anything. Although it's not very healthy, I can live off noodles forever. I could make them motherfuckers taste like steak too. That's how amazing I can whip it up. But it's just, once you grow up a certain way, you learn to live without certain things because you either never had them or it's never crossed your mind to have them. Because you didn't have much. This will be another topic I think I go over a lot. I think I'll do more story times though, as opposed to journal entries with this. I might still do maybe like another second or maybe a third journal entry on being from the hood. But I think this is more of a story time topic because I'll be able to tell, about my life and I want to say my struggles like I'm, some fucking, some person from like the 50s or 60s with the Jim Crow laws and shit. Obviously, I didn't grow up I grew up hard, but it could have been worse. That's the best way to look at life. No matter what you go through, whatever you went through, somebody went through way worse. So obviously I'm not gonna be like, oh, my struggle, you don't know but I can still tell you about some of the struggles I went through. So you can obviously know me a little bit more and understand, why I think the way I think and look at life the way I look at it and, all those things. And most of the things I tell you apply to my friends too. A lot of my friends I grew up with in those certain conditions. And I have 3 friends in particular that I refer to as my brothers because we've been through so much together, we might as well be brothers. And at one point or another, I've stayed for an extended period of time with all of them. And, things just weren't always, the best. But, we made it work because we had each other. And that's another thing that growing up in those conditions teaches you, is to appreciate the small things that you have, like your family, or the shitty TV that only has however many channels, or the shitty phone you've had for 3 years but it still works, stuff like that. It teaches you to appreciate little things. Now obviously there are some people that once they get out the hood and get that money, they go fucking psycho and they just buy everything and they just forget how they were raised. And maybe if I did make a good amount of money from this, I might even splurge a bit, but I don't think I would change too much because I always say, money doesn't change people, it just amplifies what's already there. So if you're already a person that doesn't make a lot of money or that makes a decent amount of money and you spend it all on parties and all other shit, then when you get rich, you're just gonna fucking go insane. You're just gonna go crazy. But if you're somebody like me who really doesn't really look for much, I spend a lot of money on food. I'm a food guy, so if I ever get rich, I'm gonna have to give me a personal trainer or something, because I'm gonna be fat. but yeah, whenever I do make it, and you know I do get money, I won't change too much. I mean, obviously my videos are still say pretty much the same. You know, obviously I probably have better equipment and stuff, but yeah. Like I said, I'll be making more videos about this topic. I just kind of wanted to go over it and just, you know, say a few things about it. I still haven't gotten to making scripts or nothing yet, so if this felt like I was going all over the place, I tried to stay on topic. I think I stayed on topic for the most part, so I don't think that. But yeah, whenever I'll be making more videos about this to just talk about more, but like I said, look out for more of story times, because I think it's better to do story times about this, because there's so many different things I can talk about that are just insane. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, and I appreciate everything I get from the journey I take.